if we regard ourselves as equals before God, first of all, and equals before one another in the country, that orientation, as soon as we get to that level, we'll be good to go.
Welcome to this special episode on Noble TV. Today we'll be looking at national identity and ethnic conflicts across the length and breadth of the country, Nigeria. With me to talk about this is our special guest in the house, Mr. Augustine Omilo. Mr. Augustine Omilo, you're welcome.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure.
Just like I talked about national identity and ethnic conflicts across the country, let me take a quote. Somebody like Barack Obama once said that Nigeria is an important country, and to keep that country one is a must. That must be achieved at all costs, to keep the country one. In 1914, Lord Lugard amalgamated the Southern and Northern Protectorate into one, making it Nigeria. They brought the Northern and Southern Protectorate, making Nigeria. So before then, we used to have this the Southern and the Northern Protectorate. Though even before they came, there's been a lot of other changes. Like the topic says, national identity. In your own opinion, do you think Nigeria as a country has a national identity?
Yes, because we have a National Identity Commission, NIMC. I want to believe that Nigeria as a country has a national identity. But unfortunately, the national identity we have for the country, men and women, is conflicting with the ethnic nationalities, because a lot of persons appear to give kind of a recognition to their ethnicity, ethnic groups, than national interest or maybe membership. Now, if you look at how Nigeria operates, you want to think that some persons don't still believe that Nigeria is one, first of all, because America, they have American dream. And if you have American dream, you think first of your nation, not about your village or your community or your tribe. You think about the nation. But in our own case, we have to, first of all, think about our village, our community, local government, and all that. And that is why at the head, at the center, you see people, when they become persons in authority, they first of all pay allegiance to their village by appropriating almost all facilities or amenities to that place, instead of looking at how to actually develop Nigeria equitably.
It's okay. Thank you so very much. Like you answered, they said, yes, Nigeria has a national identity. You talked about people owing allegiance to their tribe, owing allegiance to their local government, to their villages. I remember one of the former state governor was asked if he's a Nigerian. He said yes, that he's first an Ikwere man, before becoming a Rivers man, before becoming a Nigeria. So he owns the allegiance first to Ikwere before any other place. That has been a major challenge. A fallout from this past election, you can see we have a lot of ethnic clashes across various places. Do you think there is anything we need to do? Is there anything the government needs to do? Or do you think it's right for us to owe allegiance first to our locality before the national interest comes to bear?
No, it's not right. The right thing for us as a nation is for us to have allegiance, first of all, to our nation, Nigeria. Then we can trickle it down to wherever we came from. And by that, you will be removing conflict between the ethnic nationalities living together. For example, if you live in Delta State for a reasonable number of years, you become an indigenous of Delta State, a citizen of Delta State. And in that case, whatever is due to anyone who grew up to become Delta, is also applicable to the person who maybe migrated from his own state of origin and stays in Delta for a very long time. So if we do that, we'll be able to treat ourselves equally as, first of all, Nigerian. But for that to happen, we have to have a Nigerian dream, just like the Americans had their own dream. When Martin Luther Jr. was saying that one day, paraphrasing now, that a black man will now become a president of Nigeria where there will be no discrimination. It doesn't matter. It took a long time, but the dream was manifested, when
Barack Obama, as president of the United States of America.
So in our own case, if we see Nigeria and kind of develop a Nigerian dream, one day we'll live at a point where we no longer see ourselves as Igbo man, Yoruba man, Hausa man. We just see ourselves as Nigerian. And it's going to come, but we have to have patience.
It's going to come. We're going to have patience. Well, thank you so much for that. You talked about somebody living in Delta for quite some time becoming
A citizen of the
citizen
state.
of the state, just like we have in America.
Yes.
You know, after staying for quite some time in America, you meet some conditions, you become a citizen of America.
Yes.
And if you become a citizen of America, you're not treated as if maybe you're a Nigerian or you're
No,
from India. You are
no.
given the rights and privileges of a citizen of that country.
America, yes.
You see, we've not been able, like you said, we've not come to that.
Yeah.
We believe we're going to come to that sometime.
Yes.
But the question is when, because you see things are deteriorating day by day. If you take, for instance, I said things are deteriorating because in the last previous election before this one, it wasn't this bad. But in this election, it was to the extreme, where a particular tribe says those tribe that came cannot vote. You understand? So do you think there is hope for us to get to that level where we can see ourselves as nationalists, as Nigerians?
There's hope. You know why? The first president of America, by birth, it was not an American. I'm talking about George Washington. The grandparents migrated from the UK. You know, they came to America. And yet, this man became the president of America. So if it was Nigeria, maybe he would have been saying, no, this one is from Cameroon. You know, despite the fact that he even fought in the American War of Independence or Revolution, you know, at that time. So in our own case, what it takes is for us to look at our civic studies in primary school, secondary school, to actually portray every Nigerian as the same. Because when I was growing up, really, I didn't know there was a difference between a Yoruba man and an Igbo man, honestly speaking. Because I just thought, you know, when they were talking about Awolowo, I didn't know there was a difference between Awolowo. I just saw the two people as maybe Nigerians who any of them could become president of Nigeria. It was when I got to Lagos, after a while, that I began to hear things like Omoibo or Omokubukubu and all that, trying to differentiate the Yoruba man from the Igbo man. That kind of a study or that orientation that made me believe that Nigeria was one when I was growing up. If we try to bring it back through our civic studies, I think over time, it may not happen automatically, but over time, people will begin to embrace the idea. We begin to see why we should have our brothers from the east, from the west, from the north as one. Why? Because what does it take for you to be a northerner? What does it take for you to be an Igbo man or Yoruba man? You don't have any input into how you are addressed when you came to the world. You just grew up, maybe you were born in Owerri. And as we were growing up, we saw the people speaking Igbo language. And somebody tells you that you're an Igbo man. You didn't have any input into it. So why will somebody now begin to discriminate against you because you're an Igbo man? As if you chose to be an Igbo. You didn't choose it. You didn't choose to be a Yoruba man. And again, we should also stop using derogatory language for our fellow human beings. Because I give you an example. In Lagos, a long time ago, there was an accident that occurred. About 3 persons died. And somebody was trying to describe the scene of the accident to somebody. He said only 2 people died with 1 mala. So which means, you know, that kind of a derogatory is a kind of a, I don't know, it looks as if you are saying a malam now is not a human being. So if we regard ourselves as equals before God, first of all, and equals before one another in the country, that orientation, as soon as we get to that level, we'll be good to go.
Thank you so much. While you were talking, you used the word orientation. Before I go to asking the question on orientation, I need to just, like you talked about George Washington not being from the United States of America.
Originally.
We talked about Obama.
Yes.
Obama is not originally from the US,
America,
it's from
yes.
Kenya.
Yes.
Presently, the British Prime Minister is from India.
India, yeah.
That's Rishi Sunak. He's
Yes.
from India.
Yeah.
And he could rule the UK
yes.
as a Prime Minister. Such things, do you think they can happen? I know you're going to tell me yes, we're going to give it time.
Yeah.
But let me just go straight to the question on orientation. Whose responsibility is it for this orientation?
Yes, the responsibility is on the government, and particularly the president or the governors. You know, because somebody have to lead the crusade. But when you have a president that does not believe in it, it will be difficult. So if you have a government that is in place and they recognize the fact that all of us should coexist, so he will initiate a move towards that direction. And if he does that, you know, over time, we'll get to where we are going.
You talked about the government. We always say the government, the government, the government. Don't you think the family has a role to play? And different organizations also, they have a role to play.
Yeah.
Everybody has a role to play.
Exactly.
Because, you know, like I was trying to tell you, sometimes from the family, when the parents give birth to a child, is what the parents teaches them that they learn.
Yeah.
They learn from the family, parents gesture, from the parents saying. You understand? When the parents see another tribe as below them, the child tends to take it and grow up with it.
Yeah.
Don't you think it's a collective responsibility for every one of us?
Yes, it is. But first of all, we have to identify this as a problem of the nation, one of the problems. And if we do that, just like Buhari and Idiagmo identified in 1983-84, that indiscipline was a major problem in Nigeria, they brought what they call the war against indiscipline. They brought up a scheme they call war against indiscipline. Why? Now, that why was launched at the federal level. So anywhere you went at that time, you must obey or you must follow that instruction, war against indiscipline. Now, at the state level, the governors were also given the nod to also launch it at the government level. At the government level, they also allowed the local governments to also launch it. And the community development organizations in Lagos, everywhere, were also. So you discover that villages were launching war against indiscipline. When you launch it, you were made to buy a badge. You place it on your chest all the time as a reminder. So anywhere you were going to, you remember war against indiscipline. So if there is any program or policy that we think that can help our nation, and the federal government takes it up as a challenge, they will launch it and begin to now promote it, giving it to maybe the orientation agencies to actually market and promote and ensure that it gets to the grassroots. It doesn't have to be once and for all item. Like maybe you just broke today now, you put a radio jingle, and after 1 week, you just stop. No, it has to run for a very long time. And of course, all the government that will be coming, the presidents that follow after the one that introduced it or initiated it, must also see it also as something that should be continued.
It's okay. Thank you so much. Well, you talked about the government taking initiative, and also the family has a role to play. Yeah. Various agencies will have a role to play to ensure that we need to change the orientation of our psyche. I believe there is hope if everybody hands will be on deck. Yes. Because during the just concluded election, somebody from the Southwest won in Abia State. Yes. Somebody from the Southeast won in far away, either Kano or Kaduna, one of the states. Yes. You understand? So I think we need to replicate that across board. Yes. If we can replicate that across board, we'll start seeing ourselves as one. Mm. Do you think so? It's going to help us drive the national unity and national identity. Yeah. Because when they see us out there, they don't see us as Igbo or they see us as Nigerians. Yeah. So what's your final word, your final advice for our viewers out there, for the people out there, for the government, for every family out there?
Yes. My advice, since it is easy for a Yoruba man to marry an Igbo woman, since it is easy for an Hausa man to marry a Yoruba woman, why are we finding it difficult to actually accept ourselves as one? Because these couples are living in peace. And therefore, if we borrow a leaf from these people that are marrying, interstate wide, then I don't think we'll have any problem. So my take is that everybody should see themselves as one, first of all, as a Nigerian. And if you do that, you can now expand your horizon by going to anywhere you like to actually marry, go to anywhere you like to work, encourage yourself that you are a Nigerian, first of all. Accept it by yourself and let the other one accept also. Don't impose it on anyone to accept that it's a Nigerian. You, first of all, accept that you're a Nigerian and see if the other man will not agree with you. He will.
It's okay. Thank you so much. We've listened to Mr. Augustine Omilu talk to us on national identity and ethnic clashes across various parts of the country, on the need for us to do what we need to do and ensure that we live as one. Because since the amalgamation in 1914, they see us as one, and we need to see ourselves as one. No one is better than the other. And looking at, we took instance, country like America being governed by people from other places, United Kingdom being governed by people from other places. So we can do the same. We should learn to live as one. In our unity is our strength. From us at Noble TV, my name is Noble Arinze. Remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Thank you.